You know, we're all taught that success looks a certain way. Bigger salary, better job title, right? But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to dive into a massive shift in thinking that's happening all over the world. We'll look at how people, and even whole countries, are redefining what it actually means to live a good life.
So let's start with something I think we can all relate to. That feeling, like you're on a hamster wheel, running faster and faster, but not really getting anywhere that feels, meaningful. That feeling of being overworked, overstressed, and maybe just a little bit empty. Well, that's exactly where our explainer kicks off today.
So if we're all on this treadmill, how are people getting off? Well, one of the most powerful answers is this growing social trend. It's a very personal response to a culture that often puts work ahead of, well, everything else.
This quote, right here, it just nails what so many people are trying to get away from. It's not about being against work itself. It's about stepping away from this all-consuming pursuit where your bank account becomes the only measure of your life's worth.
And that leads us to this key idea, downshifting. It's basically a choice to consciously simplify your life. Now, downshifters aren't just dropping out of society. They are making a strategic choice to rebalance things. They might take a lower-paying job if it means working fewer hours. And why would they do that? To make room for the stuff that really matters to them, whether that's family, a creative hobby, or just being more involved in their community.
What this really represents is a huge philosophical shift. Instead of a live-to-work mentality, where your entire identity is wrapped up in your job, downshifters adopt a work-to-live mindset. Work becomes a tool, something that makes the rest of your life possible, instead of being the whole point of your life. It's a total and pretty powerful reshuffling of priorities.
Okay, so escaping the rat race isn't just about what you're leaving behind, right? It's also about what you're running toward. And that brings us to this idea of abundance, but probably not in the way you're used to hearing about it.
This question really makes you stop and think. If abundance isn't just about a fat bank account or a fancy job title, then what on earth is it? Well, the answer is so much richer and way more interesting than just money.
Turns out true abundance has a lot of different flavors. It's having the time to actually sit and enjoy your morning coffee without rushing. It's the richness of connection, having people in your life you can truly count on. It's the freedom for creativity, to play with ideas, and the incredible value of clarity, that peaceful, balanced feeling inside that, let's be honest, no amount of money can ever buy.
So, you see, abundance is really an inside job. It's a mindset. It's a way of seeing and appreciating all the good stuff that's already in your life. And when you start to cultivate that, it's amazing. You don't just feel better, you actually start to see new opportunities and possibilities popping up all around you. Now, this idea of redefining success isn't just for individuals. What happens when an entire country decides to change the rules of the game? To find out, we're going to take a look at the Kingdom of Bhutan and their pretty radical approach to measuring progress.
So get this. Since way back in 1972, Bhutan has officially said that gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product. That's a huge deal. This isn't just a slogan. It's literally written into their constitution. The well-being of the people is the #1 goal of the government.
And this whole G&H thing is built on 4 solid pillars. So it's not some fuzzy, let's all feel good idea. It's a really balanced approach that weaves together economic well-being, protecting the environment, celebrating their culture, and making sure the government is running things properly. It's a truly holistic vision for a country.
To actually measure this, they break it down even further into 9 specific areas. They literally survey people on everything, from their psychological well-being and how they use their time, to the strength of their local community and the health of their environment. It's a serious attempt to actually quantify what makes life good. But, and this is a really big but, it's absolutely crucial that we look at this idea from all sides. The concept of G&H has come under some incredibly serious fire. This quote here from the Refugee Council of Australia points to a much, much darker side of this story.
So what's behind that quote? Well, the criticism centers on the forced removal of more than 100,000 ethnic Nepalese people, most of whom are Hindu. Human rights organizations have called this an act of ethnic cleansing, done in the name of preserving Bhutan's national culture, which you'll remember is one of the pillars of G&H. This raises some really tough questions about whose happiness is actually being counted.
To really get what connects all these ideas, from a single person downshifting to a whole nation's policy, we need to zoom out. Underneath it all is a completely different way of seeing our place in the world. Okay, this quote from philosopher Arnie Neese it's a bit jarring at first, I know, but stick with me. He's not saying you should let a mosquito bite your baby. What he's doing is challenging the assumption that humans automatically have a higher right to exist than any other living creature. And that's the core of a philosophy called deep ecology.
So deep ecology argues that everything, a person, a tree, an ant, has value just because it exists, not because of how useful it is to us. It sees humanity as just one small thread in this huge interconnected web of life, where every single strand depends on the others to survive.
And this last quote really highlights the spiritual piece that ties all this together. It suggests that you can't have real, lasting progress with just material stuff. For things to truly change, we also have to address our non-material needs, our spiritual side, and lean on principles like justice, compassion, and unity. So after exploring downshifting, gross national happiness, and deep ecology, it all circles back to this one central question. How do we choose to define a good and successful life, both for ourselves and for our society?
Every single one of these ideas challenges a core belief of our modern world. They force us to stop and ask, is constant economic growth really the only goal we should be aiming for, or are there other things that are just as important?
And that, of course, brings the question right back to us, to you. When you step back and look at your own life, what are your metrics? How do you measure success? Is it just the number in your paycheck, or is it something more? Which leads us to this final thought. If you decided to stop measuring your life by wealth alone, what would your new definition of abundance be? Would it be time, connection, creativity, or just that feeling of inner calm? That's a pretty big question, and one that's definitely worth thinking about.